You are now listening to the sounds of Mood Swing Music Group.
Hey yo, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, man. And today what we gonna get into, man, we gonna get into a little thing called the 808 slide. So basically, man, we gonna do this 808 slide. I've been hearing it a lot. Everybody been hearing it a lot. But really it was brought to my attention once they really started talking bad about drill music. And you know, we got to be careful when we let them talk bad about our music, first of all, as producers. I know they try to make it seem like they talking about the lyrics, but as a producer, you know that the type of music you make sets the mood for the artist. You know what I'm saying, when they're in the studio. So that's a whole nother story. That's the political side of it. But they trying to get rid of a portion of our music. So I said, you know what, let's dedicate a little bit of time to drill music. Not just drill music, an aspect of drill music that a lot of people like, and it's one of the main focuses of drill music, and it's one of the main things that people capture from drill music. Because when you in the whip and you rolling and you got the 12s bumping, it's something about drill music that puts you in that zone. So I think it's the 808 slide myself. I don't think it's so much the music, the eerie music, and the drum patterns. I think it's that 808 slide. So let's work on the 808 slide today, and then we'll get to some of those other elements in another video. But today, man, we're going to work on the 808 slide, and what I got pulled up on the screen for you right now is a beat that I started primarily to show you how to come up with the 808 slide. So, yeah, man, let's get into it. Let's start looking at this beat. And basically what we gonna do is, so yeah, man, we gonna get into this 808 slide. So here we go. Let's go here. You know what? Let's start off by letting you see what all I've done to this track so far. Not that much, but I've done enough to get us going, to get us to a point where we can get the feeling of it. So right here, so let me start by doing some housekeeping here. So let's do this. We'll rename it and we'll call this one slide. Naturally, you got your Mitch drums. I'll be your boy Mitch, aka Goldmine. And this is Mood Swing Music Group. You know what I mean? Let's see here, man. This is our ARP. And this is a whole nother video in itself too. We're gonna do a video on the arpeggiator, man. Because I see a lot of people using arpeggiators inside of VSTs and stuff and not using it on the complete control keyboard. And I just think it's a shame if you got the complete control keyboard not to use the arpeggiator mode in there, man. Arpeggiator is great in there. And this one we just call it brass. For the sake of all my viewers looking at this video, that way you can see it on the screen. And let's go through our different sounds. And we're going to start out going through our sounds. You're just going to see what everything sounds like. So here's the brass. Let's do brass by itself. That's the brass. And then we'll go to the ARP. Now that ARP I actually made that ARP in the Complete Control S49. So like I say, that's a whole nother video. We definitely gonna get to that though, because that's a great tool, a really fast tool for adding sounds and layers to your beats. And then we got the drums here. So those are your drums. And then, last but not least, is your slide. So I did 2 slides, man. So here's the, okay, so we'll do the massive. I did it in massive and I did it with my favorite bass in Maschine. So let's listen to massive first, man. Here's the massive slide. So that's the actual slide in massive, and I think it sounds pretty good, man. I mean, massive is so tweakable. I don't know if that's a word, but it's so tweakable that you can create anything in it. So you got massive here. It says massive. If you want to see it, you just go right in here. And the only thing I did, I turned it to a sine wave. I put it at -24. What else did I do, man? Did I actually? Yeah, I think I tweaked these parameters a little bit. And then I went down to this and I put it on a sine wave and did -12, right? And then I pretty much tweaked it that way. As you can see, a lot of this stuff I never touched. Now, you can go in here and mess with anything you want to mess with. I didn't touch a lot of this stuff because massive is one of those things, man, that when you get down into it to the meat and potatoes of it, you can lose yourself and lose your train of thought because it does so much. So I didn't want to get too crazy with it. And then from there, I went into the oscillator and I got my glide moved up to about a little over halfway. And I don't think I messed with anything else in here. Oh, yes, I did. In voicing. You want to go in voicing and you want to set it to monophonic. Right there. That's the one you want to change. So you want to go in voicing, change it to mono, and then you want to go into oscillator and you want to start adjusting this time right here. And that time is just the time it takes for it to change the octave in between the notes. So let's do this real quick. Let's close this and let me show you what I mean by changing the octave in between the notes. We'll go to the MIDI, and as you can see, when you go into the MIDI, this is where your octave change is at. It goes from here, and it's going to reach up to play this one and reach back down to play like regular. So let's look at this. You can see the slides. You can see the notes in there and then see where these slides are coming in at. So that's how that works. So it'll go boom, boom, and what you're hearing as a slide is actually it's climbing the ladder. So it's going boom to play this note. Then it goes boom, 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 boom. And basically what it's doing is reaching every time. Just picture that. Look at it as reaching up the scale to grab that note. And what you're doing, you're putting a slide in there so that it really doesn't cut off per se. It just kind of it gives you that reaching sound, like it's reaching to the top shelf to grab that note and then sliding back down, if that makes sense. Now this is the massive slide, which was, I'm gonna say it was a little more intense, but because I've been using massive for so many years, I mean, I kind of had an idea of what to go in there and mess with. For people who don't understand massive, my suggestion to you is to like go in and copy some of these parameters that I did. I only touched, so first off, if you want to do this, I touched these two. Then I went into the oscillator, but I went into the oscillator last, so I touched these two to get the sound I wanted. Then I went into voicing, and I changed it to monophonic only. That's the only thing I touched. Then you go to the oscillator, and then you can start tweaking this time. And this time is just simply, like I said, the time is going to take it to glide up and glide back down. So you know, if you want to hear it, let's mess with it real quick. Let's play it so you can hear it. See how it got shorter? See how once I raised it up, once I lengthened that time, it lengthened the length of that glide. And that's all it is, man. Just get into massive. I know a lot of guys, I know a lot of beginners don't use massive. I think it's a shame if you don't, because massive has tons and tons and tons of things you can do with it as far as creating your own sounds and sound design. I do a lot of sound design, so things like massive, I use it all the time to create new sounds and stuff. And when I'm creating tracks for artists, if I don't have something, I don't just go out and buy a VST. I'll create it in another VST that I already have. I got tons of VSTs, and I mean, if you be patient with it, you can sit down and come up with all kind of stuff like these glides and strings and all kind of stuff. So later for that, that's another video too. We'll get into massive. So that's massive. I did it in massive. Now my favorite bass in Maschine, the bass that I think in Maschine is totally tweakable. And not only is it totally tweakable, it's the dopest bass in Maschine. So if you like 808, if you like your shit to get busy, if you like that low end rumble, if you like to make the 15s and the 18s in the trunk damn near pop a cone, I'm telling you, man, this bass right here called Adrenaline, it comes with Maschine. If you have not messed with Adrenaline yet, you are missing out. You are definitely missing out. I'll show you how dope Adrenaline is. You see that I got the same pattern in Adrenaline that I got in Massive. Right? That's the same pattern, dude. If you look at that, that's the same pattern. The only thing I did, it's close to the same pattern. They both started out the exact same pattern, but to get Massive to sound like this, I had to do a lot of tweaking on the actual pattern itself. Now, show you the difference, show you how much easier it can be. If you notice, I don't have all those stretched out notes in Adrenaline like I do in Massive. If you notice in Massive, all of my notes are stretched out and they actually touch each other. But if you go to Adrenaline, I have the capability of stretching these out using the ADSR and creating the type of bass I really want. So I'm gonna let you hear Massive one more time because this video is all about 808 glides. So I don't want to get distracted about other stuff, but check this out. We're gonna play Massive and I'm gonna show you the big difference. This is Massive. And I know you thinking to yourself, like, most beginner beat makers are saying, man, I'll take that just like it is and freak that, right? Because I can. I'm telling you, I would make that sound so dope because it sounds dope, right? But watch this. This one hits a lot harder, a lot deeper, and it grabs that low end frequency that you really want to grab when you're trying to create that bass tone that carry the track. And that's what you wanted to do when you're making these slides. You want the bass tone to carry the track. So check out Adrenaline. So I did it like that just so that you could hear the low end versus the low end of Massive. So check it out. Here's Adrenaline. Sounds great, right? But watch this. Now here's massive. If you notice, there's no tail on the end of the 808. So if I stop it, it just stops. If I go to adrenaline, adrenaline is an actual 808 created by me. See, I got that tail on it, so that tail is what's giving you that whooping sound. So I know you notice one thing. One thing though about massive adds in kind of like a distortion that makes the bass line stick out. If you notice, it's a little more distorted. So basically what you get more of that you get more of that sound in massive, right? But you don't get the deep bass. So here's what I did in adrenaline. A simple trick I did in adrenaline to just give it a little more flavor. So the first thing I did is added a distortion to it, right? So we're going to add the distortion. So I'm going to let you hear it again. So now I'm going to add the distortion. Now check it out. Now we got the distortion that we need. And you can take that distortion and you can change it however you want to change it. You can change the saturation, the different tones and all that stuff so that it can grind the way you want it to. But the first thing I added was that distortion, right? So check it out. It's cooking right now. So right now you could use it and run with it, right? Because remember, our massive sounded like this. And massive got some qualities that this adrenaline don't have and vice versa. So let's go back to adrenaline, turn off massive. And the next thing I did was added a little bit of saturation. So now check it out. And as you can see on my saturation, man, on my tube saturator, I think I tweaked the mids, I tweaked the treble, I tweaked the output just a hair, but I gave it a little more drive. And I'm gonna let you hear it again. I'm gonna turn it on and off. That's with it. And here's without it. See how it kind of dropped out a little bit? It kind of dropped out and lost its flavor, but let's add it back. And what it did, it added that zippiness on the top of those high notes that's coming in. So it made them start going zzz, zzz. It started making them kind of come in a little more clear so that you can hear them in the mix. So that's another thing you got to remember you're looking for. When you're doing a bass line like this, you're trying to make sure you can do it so that it shows up in the mix clearly, because it's really the driving point of the track. I mean, the other music is going to be kind of in the background, but when you're messing with these type bass lines, you want them to kind of ride out. So let's check the bass line out. We're going to check adrenaline out. Now we check massive out first with the actual beat. Sounds great, man. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm thinking of a million things to do to it. But let's go to massive. Let's go to adrenaline, and we'll turn adrenaline on with the beat. Now let's listen to adrenaline with the beat. Stark difference. Now, another thing you can do, man, when you're messing with stuff like this, just like I added these effects onto the bass, go to you can start adding effects on to other parts of your track so that it can help make the bass line the focal point of the track. So we'll go to the drum kit. We'll go to my drum kit here, and what we'll do, let's see what we got here. Yeah, we'll go through and just show what all we done to it. So on these two, on the kick and the snare, I mean, we pretty much didn't do nothing. We added movement. We added a little movement to this with a little EQ and a little reverb. And then with this one here, we added a little EQ and a little bit of pancake. And then you turn them all on. And then we move on to the ARP, and the ARP is pretty much self-explanatory. So we're gonna add this ARP in. Go back here. I think I want to turn it down just to how I don't remember where I had it. But we can turn these off, and here's the ARP again. Here's the bass. So that's what we're trying to get done right there, man. I don't know how close you're listening, but I don't know if you got on headphones or if you're in the studio listening to studio monitors. Is I made sure before I made it that no matter what you were listening to it on, I tested it on my LP6s. I tested it on my 8-inch studio monitors, and I also tested it with each set with my subwoofer, and then I tested it with all 4 of them with my subwoofer. I tested them with their headphones on. I tested them with my Bluetooth headphones over there, and I also tested with these studio monitor headphones. And pretty much in everything, it sounds good. And what I'm doing when I do that is making sure that the bass line is really sitting right at a certain level to where it be below the voice, but above everything else so that it pretty much drives the energy. So let's listen to it one more time, and just so you can hear what it sounds like when the bass line drives the energy of the track. So yeah, man, that's just what it is right there, man. As far as the bass line riding, I mean, like dominating the track and making it being the lead on the track. And then I added this other instrument in because this is actually going to end up being a full track. This is just what I came up with so far to do the video, just to show the 808 slide. So we'll add this brass in now and just let you hear how it sound. Then another trick, man, while I'm talking about another trick that you can use is when you're doing your art, you can when you're doing your other instruments, right? Because you want the bass line to like be the lead, but you do want some music on there. So what I did, I took all the music and pushed it out to the side so the bass line would ride in the middle. So it's just a mixing trick. So basically, when I come to my ARP, what I added a little pancake to the ARP also. So let's listen to it, and we're gonna add the pancake while we listening, so you can see what it did to it. So as you see what it started doing, it started taking the ARP and just swinging it slow, side to side. So it's not just driving in the middle, because what happens is when it drives in the middle, it interferes with the bass that you're trying to be the lead. So let's turn the bass on with the ARP and watch how they play together. So as you can see, that little small tidbit of movement that we added took everything and just balanced it out. So then another thing I did, we can turn the ARP off and we can go back to our brass here. And on our brass, I added an effect called wider. So let's turn this off and let's listen to it. This is what it sounded like straight out of Maschine. That's what it sounded like coming out of Massive, right? So then what I did is added wider to it. Now watch this. So basically what it did is split it into a stereo field. And what it does, it takes it and keep it from riding in the middle, and it splits it and it opens up the middle of the track. So now watch this when you turn on the bass. So now I'm gonna turn on the ARP and let you see how all three of them play together. Now we're gonna turn on the beat. So then I got one more sound on here also that I think I may have done some stuff to. I might have. Yeah, I got a sound on here. And basically what it is, it's kind of like a pad. Oh, get out of there. It's kind of like a pad, man. And basically what it sounds like is this. Let's turn these off and let you hear it. It's just a backing sound. And this sound here is out of the Play series. I love these sounds, man. I mean, I like the AB blend. I just messed with the AB blend on it. I changed the attack and release so that it'll flow the way I want it to flow. I pretty much messed with all of these and all of these parameters here. And it's like I say, these are the type things I want you to get into yourself. So it's like you can copy these parameters if you want to and come up with the same sound, but what's the fun in that? You know what I'm saying? So come up with your sounds, handle your business. So sound A is like a trumpet, fireflies, and then this one is a silent storm. B is the silent storm. So you got an A-B blend right here where you say which one you want to be dominant, if you want them to have 50-50 or what. But that's where you do that at and adjust the actual sound, which sound is more dominant when you're hitting the keys. So that's from the Play series, Contact Play series. And then what I did to it, let's play it one more time. That's how it sounds by itself. Sound pretty dope by itself because it's basically a backing sound, but when you turn on the tube saturation, it sounds like this. And it's going to be in the background similar to that once the track is mixed. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it for this video, man. I just wanted to show you guys like the basic premise of trying to get this 808 slide. I know I showed you a bunch of stuff, but let's go back into the bass real quick. So, hands down, the best bass that you're going to find in Maschine, if you want it to be manipulated, if you want to create your own 808s, if you want to create your own bass, I mean, you can even make it sound like a bass guitar. It's called Adrenaline. And like I say, man, it's a beast. It's an absolute beast, and this is what we made with it. And we added a tube saturator. I don't remember whose this is. Let's go in here and look. I want you to be able to find everything. And this is third party stuff though. This is definitely third party stuff. I don't remember which one of these. It's from Wavearts. I should have knew that. It got a big WA on it. It's from Wavearts. You can probably get this. This saturator is more than likely free on Plug-in Boutique. So if you go to Plug-in Boutique, it's a free download. You just download it. Once you download it, boom, it's going to be in your list of things. And this is what it looks like. There you go. I got the wave audio thing right there. So yeah, man, this tube saturator is actually from Plug-in Boutique and it's free. What else did I use? I used the distortion right out of Maschine. I think I did. Yep. I used distortion out of Maschine. This is the distortion that everybody with Maschine has. So I didn't even use a third party distortion. I just used a third party tube saturator on there. On Massive, I just did Massive. I use this the way it comes on Maschine. I just went into it. Like I say, I tweaked this 24, that one 12. You can copy these parameters if you want to. And then remember, under oscillator, you want to take this time and move it up to about here or wherever you want it. How fast, this time means how fast or slow you want that glide to be. And then I went into voicing and made sure I put it on mono. So those are the settings for that. That's already in Maschine. I told you guys I try to use mostly 99.9% of what's in Maschine when I do these tutorials so that you're not trying to purchase stuff after purchasing Maschine software. So let's go back here. Let's go here. This basically I made the beat and then I turn it into a wave. I always do that. I turn it into a wave so that I can manipulate it a little bit. So that's just a beat that I made. Under here, let's make sure I can tell you what we use. So this is from the Play series in Maschine. This ARP is from the Play series. It's the sub flute and scrapyard. And yes, I did adjust these parameters in here, so you can feel free to copy those parameters if you want it to sound a certain way. But I used the ARP control out of the Complete Control S49 to create this pattern. I mean, you can take that pattern and you could probably write it in. It's gonna take you a while though. I mean, it's easier with the ARP control. We'll do a video on that real soon. And then on that same ARP, I put Pancake on there to move it a little bit so that it went right down the center. Pancake is Cable Guys. I don't know if you guys know about Cable Guys, but Cable Guys, this is also a free plug-in from Plugin Boutique. So go to Plugin Boutique and go into free, and you'll see Cable Guys. Let me go down there so you make sure it is Cable Guys. Yeah, you'll see Cable Guys. That's where you get a halftime and a Pancake. Let me stop here. And you know what halftime look like, but halftime is not free, but I can pull up halftime real quick. I'm sure you've seen it. Boom. That's another Cable Guys plug-in. And I don't use it that much because I normally play the keys. I'm getting back more into playing the keys and creating the sounds I want. So I don't use halftime. I've never used it on a track, actually. Sometimes I'll get plug-ins just because I want to experiment with them and see what they can really do. I haven't really gotten into halftime yet. I see a lot of guys use it all the time. Me personally, I don't use it. I pretty much create my tracks based on how I feel. That's why it's called mood swing music. But this video has been about the 808 slide. We're going to play this 808 slide by itself one more time just so you can hear it, just so we can rattle your earphones or rattle your speakers. And if you got a sub in the mix, it's going to have that sub getting down. And don't just be a producer, be productive. Get in that studio, man. Be working on something. You don't always have to be working on a beat, but you have to be working on something that's going to make you a better producer tomorrow. Mm.